Solbakken's questionable choice of striker at Boston Stadium led to a disappointing result in the match against France. Erling Haaland was inexplicably on the bench. He wasn't serving a red card suspension. He hadn't suffered any injury. Haaland, who had delivered a top-tier performance in Norway's return to the World Cup after 28 years, was forced to watch the match from the bench even at its most critical moment. The City star, who had scored 16 goals in the qualifiers, was effectively reduced to a spectator on the sidelines. Ståle Solbakken had already made this decision, one that no one knew about, or if they didn't want to speak of openly. To dispel the shadow cast by this baffling decision, I need to guide you like a mentor. We must look beyond Haaland's mere goal statistics and delve deeply into the unique system he has built within the Norwegian national team and his indispensable role for the squad. Only then can we understand the true weight of Solbakken's decision. This man equaled Robert Lewandowski's European qualifying record by scoring in 8 consecutive matches during the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. I'm talking about the striker who, throughout his entire career, wearing the Norwegian jersey, has scored a goal every 71 minutes. This statistic means the team needs him at every moment, every minute. It reflects the fact that he can deliver unexpected performances in the most critical moments. Norway's World Cup qualifying campaign was extraordinary. 8 wins in 8 matches, 37 goals. That's an average of 4.63 goals per game, the highest figure recorded by a European nation in a qualifying campaign lasting more than 4 matches. A key factor in achieving this was Haaland, who scored 16 of those goals, nearly half of the total 37. An 11-1 victory over Moldova, a 3-0 win over Italy in Oslo. In the final match at San Siro, a 4-1 victory, a result that left Italy out of the World Cup for the 3rd consecutive time. Haaland was at the very center of all these results. His presence shaped not only goal scoring, but also the opposing defense's formation, man-marking, counter-attacks and team defense. It even changed which player would step up and when during his runs into the box. His presence prompted opponents throughout the European qualifiers to analyze how to stop Norway's counter-attacks. As can be understood from all of the above, this decision went beyond a mere tactical choice. If the choice had been purely tactical, explaining it would have been straightforward and simple. Under Solbakken's leadership, Norway's game plan is based on quick counter-attacks, vertical and diagonal runs, playing the ball directly to the player on the wing, and a focus on ball movement. They scored 7 goals using this system in the qualifiers, at least 4 more than any other European team. It's a system that explains why a player built for this style shouldn't be benched. On the other hand, one could interpret Solbakken's decision as a strategy to protect a player, or the assumption that this player is more important to the team than any other. It might even seem convincing, but could this be the reason for a lost match? Which assumption do you think carries more weight? Feel free to share your thoughts below. However, regardless of the reason, if he is the dominant striker both for his country and in the context of the 2026 World Cup, the outcome tends to take a different turn. Numbers and records seem insignificant at some point, even though they boil the entire result down to a single factor. What records fail to capture is the psychological weight of the decision. When a goal-scoring machine like Haaland sits on the bench, it's clear that a choice has confined him there. This suggests that the dynamics in the locker room have shifted. This situation also becomes an advantage for the opponents. More importantly, such a key player is aware of this. Ignoring a number 9, a striker known to be the best option, who has no issues with his play, creates a unique sense of disappointment. Although Haaland tried to hide it, his body language gave him away on camera. Solbakken has always maintained that the Norwegian national team is a team. He has stated that the Golden Generation label belongs not to individuals, but to the entire team. Yes, there may be some truth to that. Martin Ødegaard, in one of his best seasons, led all players in Europe's qualifiers with 7 assists. Sandberg, meanwhile, tied for 3rd place among all players in his group for the most passes that broke through the defense. This supports Solbakken's argument. The Norwegian national team is truly a team. However, failing to field a player who is central to a game plan and a built-in system without a tactical explanation throws the entire setup into disarray. For a team accustomed to playing with him, one that can apply pressure in the attacking third when needed and pull the defense back to the midfield line, Haaland's absence completely shifts the balance. Norway had not participated in the World Cup since 1998. When they returned 28 years later, they had an incredible qualifying campaign and scored a historic number of goals. These extraordinary results were achieved by a squad led by two superstars, with the other players contributing in perfect harmony. This has created expectations among the Norwegian public and other European teams that the Norwegian national team could advance to the later rounds of the 2026 World Cup. Leaving Haaland on the bench against a squad featuring world-class stars like France's was a decision that risked more than just the outcome of a single match. This choice could cause the tournament's most dangerous number 9 to lose his rhythm. Opta's supercomputer, which simulated the entire tournament thousands of times over approximately 25,000 simulation rounds, ranked Norway 9th in the World Cup winner odds. One of the main reasons for this was Haaland, a goal-scoring machine who netted 16 goals in the qualifiers and around whom the entire system is built. The simulation assumed that in every outcome, Haaland would make vertical runs behind the defense during matches rather than sitting on the bench. Losing to France set Norway on a tougher path. France is considered the second favourite to win the tournament. It's clear they possess a high-quality offense and a solid defense. Perhaps having Haaland on the bench wouldn't have made a difference on the defensive end, but he was the only one who could break down that defensive line with his physicality and runs behind the defense. In such a closely contested match on such a crucial night, resting Haaland, or worse, leaving any doubt about his role or rhythm, is not a tactical gamble. It is an unnecessary risk taken at the worst possible moment. Back in 1998, no one expected the Norwegian national team to achieve the feat of defeating Brazil 2-1 in Marseille to advance to the round of 16. The pressure on them was minimal, their freedom was high, and that result became a defining moment for an entire generation of Norwegian soccer fans. But the current Norwegian national team boasts two superstars. They've scored an extraordinary number of goals in the qualifiers. Expectations are much higher now. Given all this, it's clear that every decision carries greater weight. The gravity of the situation is different. It's hard to simply call it management when the team's most important asset, one of Europe's most talented strikers, is benched at such a critical moment. After this challenge, the expected reward for Norway never came. If they had secured a victory without Haaland, perhaps Solbakken's bold decision would have been applauded. Unfortunately, however, there was no reward for benching the team's best player for no apparent reason. On the contrary, this risky decision pushed Norway onto an even tougher path in the World Cup and yielded no gains. It only deepened their losses. This isn't Solbakken's first misstep. A fan survey conducted after the 5-1 loss to Austria in October 2024 revealed that only about 18% wanted him to stay. Ultimately, with less than 2 years remaining before the World Cup he was set to participate in, his tenure was nearly over. The national team's escape from elimination and the extraordinary soccer played in the qualifiers helped him regain respect. However, this success does not mean he is immune to criticism. And the first question to be asked amid this criticism will be, did you field your best lineup in crucial moments? Even Norway's bench is truly top tier. In that starting 11 that dismantled Italy at San Siro, there was only one player who plays outside Europe's top 5 leagues. This depth of the roster makes Solbakken's decision not easier, but harder to understand. If the squad surrounding Haaland were fragile, one could argue for carefully managing his playing time, protecting him from fatigue and taking a cautious approach. However, this squad does not need protection from Haaland's presence. It needs Haaland on the field to reach the potential indicated by the qualifying data. His presence is a necessity, whether from a tactical perspective or not, no matter how you look at it. The false runs he makes, the space he creates for Alexander Sørloth, the high balls he heads on corner kicks, his runs behind the defensive lines, and his ability to pull opposing defenders all the way back to the midfield line. These are not things a tactical system alone can produce. These are created by him. Without him, opponents could organize themselves differently. counterattacks might become more predictable. Every statistic in the Opta model that makes Norway dangerous assumes Haaland's presence and accepts all the associated assumptions. None of the data and predictions discussed here are arguments against the team's cohesion, roster management, or approach to rotation. Such experiments can be conducted in pre-season friendlies and Nations League matches. Players can, of course, be given rest. However, the World Cup is an extremely serious event that takes place every 4 years. The tournament structure is ruthless. A decision made at the wrong moment can upset the entire balance and derail all plans. In such an environment, benching a player who plays a decisive role in the game for no good reason can lead to unpredictable consequences. Even if done with good intentions, this is a risk that no tactical philosophy can fully justify. Moreover, Haaland isn't even competing with someone trying to take his spot. He is the most accomplished and experienced player on the team. He is the record holder, the benchmark, and the player every opponent's game plan focuses on stopping. When the tournament begins, the bench is not the place for record holders. Yes, Norway is in the round of 32. Losing to France did not create an obstacle for them in the World Cup. However, a narrow victory could shake the players' confidence in the tournament. In particular, it could plant the fear in Haaland's mind that he might be benched again in the next match. According to Opta's data, reaching the semi-finals is not a pipe dream. But without Haaland, it's just a pipe dream. If Solbakken has set a minimum goal of reaching the semi-finals in this tournament, he must protect not only the physical, but also the mental well-being of the player on whom his system relies. You don't reach the semi-finals based on guesswork. You reach the semi-finals through decisions, the right player at the right moment, making the right choice when there's no room for error. For 28 years, Norwegian soccer fans have carried the memory of that historic moment in Marseille in their hearts. They lived in hope and imagination that day would come again. They eagerly awaited the chance to reach the round of 16 once more and wanted to be part of history. And this team is just one game away from reaching that goal. To reach that goal and even go further, to inspire the Norwegian people to dream new dreams, the team needs Haaland. Not on the bench, not in the rotation, on the field, in every crucial moment, doing what he does better than almost anyone else in the world right now. Soccer is a game of decisions made in tough moments. Haaland is a striker who has statistically proven himself to be the best number 9 in those tough moments. Solbakken's decision to bench Haaland could lead to one tough moment after another. If Haaland is always on the field, as he was in the qualifiers, he will once again be the one to decide the outcome in critical moments. So, what happens when a team that has played in the World Cup final many times is suddenly eliminated in the quarterfinals? We'll discuss how Germany, under Nagelsmann's leadership, bowed out of the tournament based on the style of play they showcased. If you don't want to miss out on these kinds of intriguing analyses, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, because the next topics might interest you even more.